Hello! I just made this tier list maker because I couldn't find one for specifically the abilities in Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I'm going to put the link to it in the description of this video. But I'm going to rank, I wanted to do a full tier list for every Kirby ability, but then I was thinking about how copy abilities act so differently in this game, and some that I've never cared for are really good, and some that I have always really liked aren't that great. So, we're gonna talk about them. And this is going in order. Crash is. I don't really like single use abilities in Kirby games. I never use them. I'd rather just hold on to my ability. So it's I literally went through the entire game without using Crash once. So I'm gonna throw it there. Same with Sleep. It's another single use one. It's nice that Sleep heals you, I think, a third of your health in this game when you use it. But it's still used as an obstacle you have to run past during timed challenges and stuff because they recognize it's not great. Deep Sleep, on the other hand, is nice. It fully heals you no matter what health you're at. The animation is a little long, but I mean, it's essentially a Maxim tomato with a fun animation. I'm not going to put it higher for that reason. Of it is still pretty basic, but I like it, and I think it's cute. Um, Time Crash rules. The concept of it is so cool. For those of you who haven't played the game yet, essentially you create a small aura of Crash around yourself, and time freezes, and you have to run around. You're at full speed. Everything else is in slow motion, and every time you hit something, the aura grows a little bit, but it's constantly shrinking as like time catches up to you. So you have to run and continue hitting things to keep it going. It's really fun. It's really fast paced. It's way more interactive than single use abilities usually are, and I really like it. That's all the single use ones, so we're just going to start going by regular copy abilities. Cutter's good. Um, I think the idea of holding the attack button to charge a cutter that's already been thrown, like holding it in place, is a really cool idea that makes a lot of sense for 3D. I miss being able to throw a charged cutter, but that's fine. And I feel like you kind of have to get too close for the cutter combo. Like, I don't know. I always felt like I would go in to do it and just throw a regular cutter, which wasn't much of an issue in the 2D games, but I don't know how they would have fine tuned that. Um, but it's good. Ice. I love ice skating. I'm going to honestly, I think I like ice more than I normally do since enemies are usually all on one plane because it's in 3D and the homing factor is really accurate. Ice is super fun. Ice skating around is very fun. It's a little bit of a shame that the air like flurry attack isn't in this game. Sometimes I wanted to be able to run and jump and attack instead of losing all my momentum, but that's fine. The ice shield freeze ability is still there, which is very fun and I like it. Bomb is up there with Cutter. I'm always moving in this game, so you pretty much exclusively use the rolling bomb ability. Having to aim by fully coming to a stop and charging isn't super convenient, and it's harder to aim in 3D. There's just more room, and enemies can move out of the way easier. I just never found it that useful. I just feel like Bomb is inherently a little bit more limited in a 3D space, so it took a little bit of a hit in how much I enjoyed using it. Um, Drill is really fun. I mean, obviously, the idea of drilling around is really cool. Drawing a circle while you're underground, creating an earthquake, is such a cool idea. Um, and it's not super useful, but if you press the attack button in the air while you're not moving, you can send out like a short drill projectile. It doesn't do very much damage. It doesn't go very far. It's not super useful, but I don't know. I think it's cool that there was an idea like a stationary attack for it. And when you get to the twin drill, sometimes it's fun to spam mini bosses with your aerial drill attack. Fire is really good. Um, it's weird that you can't use the burning fireball rush on the ground because they moved it to aerial since you're always running in this game. But it's still very fun. Uh, it's a little limited, but leaving behind fire so that while you're aiming, if you miss someone, there's still a little fireball to hit them on the ground. That's a nice touch. Mainly, though, it's really fun using the fireball to run around in 3D. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Needle. Actually, top of great tier. I should order these in order of how much I like using them. Needle rules in this game. I really like it. It's super mobile. You can move while in the needle, and every time you hit an enemy, you add them to your needle clutter, and it like gives you a boost in speed. It's really fun. It's like a Katamari Damacy ability. You can even pick up like star blocks and stuff. And when you release with a lot of enemies, you can like they will shoot out in the direction of the nearest enemy. So it's really good. Oh, excuse me. It's really good for mini bosses. You can pick up the projectiles they throw at you and throw them back. It's really fun. Um, it's really fun to just jump and then you do like a spinning needle attack and then roll along the ground. It's very fun ability, very mobile, which I really like. Um, as you can probably tell just looking at this, mobile is kind of the key to abilities being fun in this game. And speaking of Tornado, it's super fun. It's a little bit hard to control, but that's part of the appeal for me at least, because you pick up enemies and spin them around, and when you end the tornado, it's kind of like in Return to Dreamland when you could shake the Wii remote to do like a screen clearing thing. Whenever the tornado ends, it creates like a small expanding gust outwards that launches everything you've picked up in all directions. And if you just tap B, like you don't have to hold B to go up and down because you're kind of locked in place on the Y-axis. But if you press B early, you get to just like launch everything. And if you just tap B, you can just create a tornado around you while you stay in place, which is pretty fun. So yeah, I really like the tornado. I hope it shows up in 2D games again. I missed it from Return to Dreamland. It's one of my favorites. And it works great in 3D. What do I have left? Basic hammer is it's good. I like it. It's another one of those abilities where you mostly have to come to a stop when you're attacking with it, but it is also like the most damaging ability in the game, so that makes sense. But it's good. I don't really have any complaints. Or much to say about it. It's hammer. You hit hard and you move a slow. Ranger I didn't like that much. I don't like having to aim. You have to come to a complete stop to aim. It's just not that fun. You can't really hit enemies that aren't on the same part of the Y-axis as you, so you have to aim if you want to hit enemies. The aerial attack is fun, but I don't know. I feel like Ranger always ended up slowing things to a stop, and I didn't feel incentivized to use it, especially since if you didn't charge the projectile, you'd have to fire like 3 just to hit anyone. Honestly, I really didn't have that much fun using the base Ranger ability. It wasn't for me. And I think I'm also gonna move. No, I'll leave Bomb where it is. So now we start getting into the evolved copy abilities, which is honestly a fantastic idea. I liked that you could buy new like outfits. You could unlock new helmets for abilities in the original Kirby fighters. I don't remember if you could in later versions. You can in Team Kirby Clash. I like aesthetic updates, and I always hoped they would show up in a mainline Kirby game, and we got something better, which is not only an aesthetic update, but it comes with upgrades to the abilities, which is great. So let's talk about them. Most of these are either going to be at the same level as or above their base abilities. So let's just go in order as they're presented here. Blizzard Ice is really fun. Instead of just breathing ice, you fire a barrage of icicles. I think it freezes bosses a little bit slower than regular Ice Breath, but it's way more like offensive than regular ices. Ooh, something fell in the room next to me. That's okay. It's more offensive. It's very fun. But something I like about some enhanced abilities is the previous evolved version isn't made obsolete, because Frosty Ice, when you're blowing, even if you don't hit an enemy, it just creates mini snowmen that you can kick like frozen enemies, even from afar. So it's a little bit more defensive. You don't ever have to approach the enemy. You can just create and launch out projectiles or create snowmen for enemies to walk into, which is really fun. So yeah, all of the ice abilities are good iterations. Clutter and crystal evolved forms of the needle are both kind of just like once you have crystal, clutter is pretty it's redundant at that point. Clutter, when you end your spike rolling and go back to being regular Kirby, even if you don't have any enemies in your spines, you launch out just like a few little sharp clutter bits as projectiles. And then crystal enhances that. You know, with each evolved form, your needles get longer, and crystal fires more powerful projectiles and leaves behind a little trail of crystals in the ground. So this is one of them where unfortunately like there's no reason to use clutter other than aesthetics after you unlock crystal, but they're both good. Like neither of them are worse than base crystal. Um Buzzsaw cutter I really enjoyed. The cutter ricochets when you launch it, so it has way more range, it's bigger, and it does a lot of damage. It's really fun to fight bosses by like charging up a chakram, not a chakram, a boomerang in the air, like kiting the boss around and then summoning the chakram back and it slices through them. It's really fun. Similarly, chakram cutter, which I kept accidentally saying, is really good. It's much faster than the buzzsaw cutter, and you can fire 2 boomerangs at once, which is really fun. And I think they're both equally good. One of them is powerful and slow, one of them is super fast. And apparently, if you use the attack upgrades you unlock at the end of the game, you can make Chakram Cutter have like the best attack power in the entire game. Chain Bomb is about as good as regular bomb, honestly. You can place bombs on the ground, and if they're close enough together, they'll all explode together, and the more that are linked, the bigger the explosion will be. But even though I like the idea of setting traps, as you saw with Frosty Ice, I just never found this especially useful. You have to come to a complete stop to aim. Trying to roll bombs and do it, they just keep exploding against each other. I really didn't find it especially useful. Wrong one. This guy, on the other hand, is good. I still wouldn't use it against any other evolved abilities, but the fact that the bombs home in if you miss is a really nice touch, and they still maintain the chain feature, so this guy's obsolete. I think it would have been neat if one of them homed in on enemies and one of them had the chain feature, just so they both felt special, but I'm not mad because I wasn't going to use this guy anyway. Volcano Fire is as good as regular fire. The range of your fire increases a little bit, and instead of just breathing fire, you launch like little balls of fire that leave behind magma puddles. And your fireball explodes bigger. I think it's not that big a difference to regular fire. I've always wanted sort of a magma ability in addition to fire, just because I think you could do something with that, and it works. It's better than regular fire. So let me bop. If I'm doing this in order, I should keep it going. I forgot to put regular sword, right? Did I not put regular sword in here? Alright, you're going to watch me change this in real time. Damn. Truly, I screwed up. Sword Kirby. Ew, Sword Art Online. I don't want that. Sword Kirby. He look angry. Boop. Boop. Hey. What? I'm confused now. Yeah, you're right here. Okay. Am I stupid? Am I missing it? What's going on here? Oh, I see what happened. Okay. Man, guys, you get to... This is really... I'll probably cut this. Or at least a little bit of it. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to cut this because this is silly. All right, regular sword. I just had to go through and edit the template because I forgot to put regular sword in here. It's good. I'm gonna put it pretty high because there's a specific move where it's the only move that changes your slide, which isn't abnormal for the sword ability, but I really like that from the slide, if you jump out of a slide, you do an uppercut and then you can do a slam attack with the sword. I feel like sword has the most, like the highest amount of different moves you can do, which is really fun. It bothers me that this one, because it's a screenshot, isn't transparent, but you do what you have to. Gigant Edge, Meta Knight Sword, and Morphinite Sword are all really good. Gigant Sword may be extremely slow, but it's also like the charged up sword does so much damage. Meta Knight Sword is way faster, and I really like that when you do the uppercut instead of the slam attack, you do like a Meta Knight style barrage of slashes in midair, which is really fun and flashy. Morphinite is below Meta Knight because even though it can swap between a spinning slash and a giant sword, it's like a mixture of these two. It doesn't have the midair slash thing. It does the sword slam into the ground, which I just personally am not a fan of. I really like seeing Kirby wearing this outfit, but I just prefer the Meta Knight one. Dragon Fire is better than Fire, but it's still Fire. I just don't really like Fire in this game as much as some other ones. You have to come to a stop while you're breathing fire. The range is really high, which is super nice because it's almost like projectile range at this point. And the like dragon wing dash in the air is super fun, so it definitely deserves to be in A tier. Florina Tornado is just regular tornado but bigger. Doesn't really add anything super interesting, but it's pretty. And if I had to pick my favorite like copy ability just aesthetically, it would be a tie between Florina Tornado and Crystal Needle. I really like them both from an aesthetic standpoint. Storm Tornado is just tornado but better. While you're flying, bolts of cool purple lightning will crackle and attack enemies that you don't get close enough to absorb them into the tornado. And otherwise, it's just a better, stronger version of the tornado. It's really fun. Wild Hammer is better than regular Hammer, but it's still just so slow. It doesn't slow you down like in Kirby Clash games, but you can't. A neat thing that this game added to the hammer is you can do sort of a 2-hit combo where after 2 hammer swings, you'll do like a slower, more powerful hammer swing. Essentially, Wild Hammer, every attack is that final swing. You can't chain them together because it's really slow, but every attack is pretty powerful. The problem is that it's just a little too slow to be practical for me. Like, I don't know. I don't feel that. I mean, I guess when you're just dodging away from bosses and then attacking, it's pretty good. So I can't complain too much. It's good, but I don't know. It doesn't do enough to separate it from regular hammer. Unlike Toy Hammer, which is really fun because it's like regular hammer but very fast. You can do 3 hits instead of 2 before the final hit, and they all come out way faster, with the trade-off being that it's weaker than even the regular hammer. But even at that cost, I still think it's really fun, and I really liked using it. Noble Ranger is better than regular Ranger, but I still don't really like using it that much, so I'm probably just going to have it like this, because you still have to fire multiple times to beat an enemy, which I guess when you're with a projectile, you have the time to do that, but it also has one of my least favorite hat designs. I feel like it's just too big and gaudy. However, I love Space Ranger Kirby. And I know that that's like hypocritical because I've been talking about how much I don't like having to aim to attack, but the fully charged attack creates this giant plasma ball, which is really cool, and you don't always have to aim, because like if you miss but it hits a wall, it'll still create that big ball and hit stuff that you weren't able to hit. It's very fun. Um, Honestly, if this came into 2D, Space Ranger, I almost wish would be the base version of it. It honestly, it reminds me of a combination between like the laser ability from older Kirby games, Adventure, Amazing Mirror Squeak Squad, and Plasma. It feels like a combination of those two. And the air ability, like when you press the attack button in the air with Space Ranger, you create like these balls of electricity that float in the air before exploding, and it's very fun and cool. Pencil drill is better than the regular drill, but not by much. Pretty much the main difference is that when you come up out of the ground, you launch a pencil up into the air and it can hit nearby enemies if you weren't able to hit them through the act of coming out. It's a good ability. It's still drill. It's good. I like it. I like it. I have fun using it. But twin drill is where it's at. Very fun. The air dash is super good, and it's the only version of drill where the minor attack I brought up earlier of jump while not moving in any direction and attack, you launch out two like big drill short range projectiles. That's the only version of drill where it actually does noteworthy damage, and for some reason I'm partial to that move. All right, so yeah, okay. Forgo hammer is so fun. Having two hammers is fun enough, but the fact that like the final hit of your hammer combo creates giant fire tornadoes and the charge attack becomes like a spin instead of a single hammer flip. It's very fun. I love Forgo DDD in this game. So yeah, here we go. Most of these abilities are good. Um, Projectile based ones I just found to be not that fun because it slows the game down a little bit. Let me move this. That the idea of this being higher than a real ability is wild to me. But I mean, they're on similar. I didn't use Ranger very much until I had upgraded it to Space Ranger form. I didn't really use Bomb at all, but once homing Bomb was an option, I didn't hate having to use it. As soon as I had evolved Chakram for the first time, I started to use it pretty regularly, but I was always going for Needle, Ice, Tornado, even when they weren't. Like, even if I had a fully evolved homing Bomb, I would still pick unevolved Needle. Because it's fun! It's Katamari Damacy. It's so fun. So yeah, I'm going to put the link to this because I don't think anyone else has made one yet. And this is fun to do. I like making tier lists. Probably going to do it more. And I love Kirby. All these hats are so fucking cute. Oh fuck. Real quick, let me... How do I reset? Okay. Real quick, aesthetics alone. I don't like the Dragonfire. I think it just looks really over-designed. I feel similarly about Twin Drill. I really don't like the ones that are super over-designed. I like them to be more like not super simplistic. I like more like elegant, graceful ones. And I'm going by cuteness. So even if they look cool, it's about cuteness. I don't like Time Crash's design that much because it reminds me of Doctor Who. But yeah, this is a lot more informal. I put no time into this. I kind of just threw stuff on there. But yeah, cutest abilities. It's hard. It's fighting me. This is a Gurren Lagann reference, which I watched half of one season of. But that's really cool. All right. Cuteness done. Thank you for watching, and if you use this template, good, I hope you enjoy it.